I don't have a script. I probably should when I usually do these videos. Sorry, I'm moving. My bed's moving. I'm sorry. It's always good to kind of have a script in case, to go over your points because you don't want to get debunked by a fucking commentator or whatever the fuck. This is very rare. Okay, I gotta say that if you're new to my channel, this is very rare for me to do something like this because this is like a music channel. I used to have another channel, but I kind of gave it up because of drama. But this is mostly, I don't want this to be about me, but this is mostly a music channel. But I decided to put this topic on this channel because it is kind of about music in a way, but just not my music, just music in general. Like this, like Johnnyism is supposed to be about my music and my shit, right? But I've had thoughts about wanting to maybe branch out and talk about stuff like this, like music in general, like album reviews or talking about like certain like subcultures. And I don't want this to get derailed or anything, but I've thought about doing that and I went against it. I said no, I just want to stick to my shit. But I might branch out because there's a lot of things that, again, I'm sorry if you hear me moving my, because I'm laying in my bed, so I'm sorry if you hear that. um there's a lot of things about like goth and metal and even like breakcore and like electric dance music and shit. There's a lot of shit that goes on in those scenes that I don't talk about that I want to talk about, and I think it's because I don't really want drama on this account or any arguments. That's why I do what I do on Johnnyism. You know what I mean? This is just a venting music channel, where I do my own shit, and I really haven't had any drama or bullshit, but I kind of want to vent. Maybe you guys could probably relate to this. I'm fucking 2 minutes in, so let me just get to the fucking point. I've noticed this goth girl thing for a while, I mean, back in my day, you know, people, um, people being interested in goth girls and shit like that. That's always been kind of a thing, you know what I mean? But it kind of like, you know what I mean, like goth for goth, you know what I mean? Like a goth guy getting with a, like, for me back in my day, like I made comments. There's tons of videos about the whole goth girl the whole goth girl epidemic or whatever the fuck you want to call it or whatever. There's a lot of videos. There's two specifically that I want to mention. There's Why Do People Like Goth Girls? That's one video. And then there's a recent one that just came out today as I'm recording this. Hold on. Oh, Why Do People Love Goth Girls by Acculturation, I think that's what his name is. And then a new video dropped out by Kulia, I think that's how you pronounce his name. The Goth Girl Paradox, yeah. But yeah, there's tons of videos about the whole goth girl thing. I mean, there's like way more, but I don't want to get into it. I just want to talk about it and just say that. And I don't want to seem like, when I say, I know I'm kind of beating around the bush, but just trying to warn you, what I'm about to say, I'm not trying to say I'm the one for the goth girls and everyone is the posers. Like, I'm not trying to make like this like a poser thing and like I'm the true one. Like, I'm the nice guy, you know what I mean? I'm the ultimate, like I'm the ultimate supreme, like, nice guy, whatever the thing, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be like that or anything. You know, I'm the gentle gentleman, I'm not trying to be like that or anything. But I commented on the Goth Girl Paradox video. I'm sorry I'm whispering, I still live with my parents. Even though I'm 29 years old. Yeah, I'm 29 years old. Was that a gothic voice for you? The Goth Girl Paradox. This is why I need a script, because I'm so ADHD. But anyways. I said in the Goth Girl Paradox video, I commented, quote, back in my day, goth for goth was a thing. Because it was. I'm getting a little bit off script. I mean, I'm not out of script. No, let me just read the whole comment. Back in my day, goth for goth was a thing. Now, it's just normal people or, quote, unquote, normies thirsting after goth girls, which can sometimes work, but usually not. I like goth girls because I'm goth. Same with other similar labels. I have many labels. Goth girls or any alternative girl wants a guy who is also into it, or at least has knowledge in it. That's just what I noticed. And then I don't know if I should read the second. Okay, let's dissect that comment that I made first before I go to the second one. Back in my day, goth was a thing. Yeah, like in the '80s, like there'd be like goth couples, like at the club. Like I'm not, I wasn't fucking there, but I'm just trying to like guess based on like the documentaries that I've seen. Like looking at the documentaries, there'd be goths, like there'd be a goth guy with a goth girl, right? Nowadays, it's just a normal person. I don't know what they listen to, but they dress normally. Thought like they like. I assume they probably like pop or rap or something. And the into the goth girl. They're into the goth girl, but they have no care for the music or why she is the way that she is. Like they just don't care. It's like a whole fetish thing, right? And don't get me wrong. Like I'm attracted to goth girls. I would not consider it a fetish. It's more of a preference, not even a like if you were someone to ask me what is the number one thing I'm looking for a woman or even a man, because I'm bisexual. I don't want this to be about me, but they don't even necessarily have to be goth. They just have to like be. They have to have something for me when it comes to dating or being friends. They have to have something similar to me. Now I know everyone's different. Like I used to know a guy where I don't know if this is rare, but I used to know a guy where he could. Oh, sorry, my dad might be coughing in the background. I'm not gonna cut that out unless it's really, really bad coughing. He's not sick or well, I don't want to get off topic about that. I know a guy. I used to know a guy where he didn't make friends based upon the opinions he had or the interests. For him, it was like the connection, right? So he could literally become friends with a fisher, someone that likes to fish, right? But like say for instance, he likes metal music. Like he would have no problems becoming friends with a fisherman. I caught what kind of fish do people fucking catch? Um, I don't know. Trout, salmon, cod. I don't know. I'm just a swordfish. I don't know what the fuck fishermen fucking. You know what I mean? They fish for fish, right? You know, and that's why But for me, that I can't do that, right? I'm not interested in a dude that's fishing outside and shit like that. I'm not interested in that. You know what I mean? Um, like for me to make a relationship or a friendship, they have to be goth or alternative metal, or they have to be philosophical or spiritual, but not religious. Like not like abstinent, avoiding sin stuff. Like I'm not into that. Like they have to be something. They have to be, they have to have the same mental problems as me, like ADHD, or maybe not exactly, but something similar. Like they might be on the schizo spectrum. Like they might have schizophrenia or schizotype. Maybe they have schizotypal personality disorder or schizoaffective or undifferentiated schizophrenia or something like that. Paranoid personality, avoidant personality, antisocial border. Like they have to be something like for me because I don't want this to. I don't want this to be about. I don't want this to be a mental health thing. But I've gone through a lot of mental health labels. Some of them were misdiagnoses. Some of them I think might be misdiagnoses, and then I feel like I'm underdiagnosed with a lot of stuff. Like basically in a nutshell, the person that I'm dating, they have to have at least one trait of me, whether that's spiritual beliefs, alternative fashion, political, just something. It doesn't have to be three traits of me. I mean, if it is, that's cool, but it has to be at least one thing that's similar. And basically, what I'm trying to fucking get at with the goth girl thing is it's not gonna work. Like the normies getting with the goth girl, it's just not gonna fucking work. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be. Now let's argue against that. Let's argue against that. Let's see why it could work. I mean, it could work It could work, but it's very unlikely. Because in my other comment, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I said I'm the minority of guys who like goth girls because I am goth. Like I like goth girls because I'm goth. Well, same with alternative girls, girls that just they dye their hair red and they wear purple t-shirts or something. You know, like they don't really fit into goth or metal. They're kind of just like alternative. Like I'm like for me, people want to know. Like I know I said I'm goth, and I don't want this to be about me, but a lot of people don't even believe that I'm goth because I'm not like overly. I've never been really overly dramatic with it. Like I've only dyed my hair like twice in my life, you know, and I don't spike my hair really anymore, so I don't really have goth hair. I don't wear makeup or anything. I never really truly did. I never wore goth makeup. I never wore femboy makeup which is very shocking. It's very shocking because you know I used to I gotta keep my voice down. I still live with my parents and stuff like that. Even like I'm goth and I don't wear the black makeup or lipstick. I used to be a femboy, and I never wore like classical, traditional feminine makeup. Like the only makeup I've ever worn was like black metal face paint for Halloween. But that's basically it. I never really done white foundation other than kind of like that black metal thing, if I even have a photo of that. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of people don't even believe that I'm goth because I dress usually either pretty casually or I dress in all black, but people be like, "That's not goth. Like it's not goth enough." Like black cargo jeans and a black plain T-shirt or long sleeve shirt. People be like, "That's not goth enough." I disagree. Because I do have like Bauhaus. I have a Bauhaus T-shirt. I have a Fields of the Nephilim T-shirt, which it's funny because these fucking goth documentaries, none of them fucking mention Fields of the Nephilim. Like they're very underrated for a goth band. Like they're very underrated. It took them a couple years on YouTube to hit 1 million views on a song. Like that's how like they finally hit the song Moonchild. Finally hit 1 million views, so I congratulate them because they're really underrated. But you never really hear that them as like usually when people do the whole goth documentary, they talk about the main goth bands like Bauhaus, Sisters of Mercy, Christian Death, which Christian Death is mostly like death rock, but still kind of goth. People usually talk about those bands, but they don't really get too deep into it. A lot of these documentaries, they don't really mention Nosferatu, or Fields of Nephilim, obviously. And I don't really hear that much about the newer goth bands. I think there's a band called She Passed Away. I've heard of them, but I've never really gave them like a chance to listen to them. But I don't want this to be about about the music. But basically, in a nutshell, this is gonna be like slideshow. Again, I don't really do shit like this. I don't. This might. I can't promise you this will be like a one-time thing. I mean, maybe I will switch it up a bit and talk about subcultures and album reviews. Let me know if you want me to do that. But I mostly want to stick to the Johnnyism, my personal music, because I'm trying to I don't want to branch out too much, and I don't want to, I don't want to get into any stupid video replies because I'm doing my music to cope. And a lot of people, another reason why people don't think I'm goth is the music that I make, most of it is not goth. There's only like a select few tracks that I've made that is considered goth, or at least I try to attempt to make it, because I'm not really a professional musician. I can't read notes or anything. I just press random buttons and then send it to the internet. I'm an outsider musician. I can't even sing properly. Apparently, I can't. Okay, but anyways. So people because I mostly make the breakcore shit, and I make the digital hardcore crap, you know what I mean? But I am goth because I know about the bands, and I listen to the bands. The my definition of goth is you know what goth is, and you listen to it. It's not just knowing about it. Because if you just have knowledge in goth, that doesn't necessarily make you goth. That just makes you a gothologist, if that's even a word. Like, oh, I study goth, but I'm not into it, and then you're not goth. You're just a gothologist, kind of like demonology. You study demons. It's not the same thing as demonolatry, which is the worship of demons. It's not the same thing. Um, you know, um, you know. But to get back on the goth girl shit, because people are like, what does this have to do with goth girls? You know, yeah, basically in a nutshell, um, Dad's cough in the background. I apologize. Yeah, I love goth music. I love alternative music, like alternative, like Tool, like alternative metal, like Tool, Faith No More, new metal. Yeah, I will admit I kind of like new metal, like Korn and shit like that. Reveille is pretty underrated of a new metal band and shit like that. Yeah, I just like alternative crap. Metal, yeah, death metal like Deicide, and heavy metal like, Metallica, Slayer, and Creator with a K, and, I love metal. Black metal, whatever. Yeah, the whole normie to goth girl thing doesn't really work out in relationships. That's what I said in a comment. Yeah, it really doesn't. I said it can maybe work. Like I could see like a geek guy getting with a goth girl. Like that might work. Like some dude that loves Pokemon and um, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh and anime and all that shit. And this socially awkward dude just so happens to get it with a goth girl. Like that might work. Or a normie that loves Post Malone and uh, the woman that starts with T, that's so popular nowadays. I don't want to say her name because if I criticize her, I'm gonna get freaking crucified. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get Christian death. I want to get stoned. I'm gonna get stoned, and I don't mean marijuana stoned. I mean, you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, like the normies. The trad wives and husbands and shit. Hippie and goth might mix maybe, but usually goth. And then this is why I said in the comment, I say, also I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. Goth girls want someone who cares about the subculture, or at least has knowledge in it. They want someone who is into it themselves. That's just what I noticed, and it's my experience with it. Not saying norm. I'm not saying it's impossible for a normie, pop head or rap head. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying they can't be happy with a goth girl. It's just unlikely. You know what I mean? I mean, they always say, opposites attract, but I never really related to that. I don't even think that. I can't. Opposites attract. I always hated that fucking phrase. For me, that's never been the case. That's just never been the case. I think even like subjectively, it's not true. I think objectively, that's also kind of not true in a lot of cases. Not all cases. I mean, you could be a fucking Pokemon, fucking Club Penguin. Remember when that was a fucking thing? Fucking playing that, The Sims and shit, and then you're getting with a whatever, a emo girl, she's depressed, or a goth girl that's spooky. Okay, maybe that could work, but I don't know. I don't think it can work in a lot of cases. I mean, and even if it could work, goth girls, alternative girls, metalhead girls, they definitely don't want a dude that's fetishizing them. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm attracted to goth alternative. I'm attracted to goth slash alternative slash metalhead girls myself. I even have like prawn, Pron. Reverse the R and the O. I have material on my computer of goth girls and alternative girls and metalhead girls and even emo girls. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because that's kind of popular in the prawn scene, you know. But I don't fetishize it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the whole. I don't want to talk about. Okay, I'll say it. It's kind of like with the whole trans thing, right? Like, I'm attracted to trans women, but it's not. I have to be very careful with. It's not. It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish. Like, It's not even really like it's a preference, but not a preferred preference. Like, it's not a dominating prep. Like, it's not like goth girls are my number one interest, and then it's trans women, and then it's not like that. It's just, I don't even think I'm necessarily attracted to a specific number one style or a gender. Again, it goes, for me specifically, it goes back to the whole personality traits, mental traits. You know, I don't give a. It doesn't matter if it's a goth girl. Sorry, dad making noise. It doesn't, because it's always like the internet joke about, oh, big booby goth girl, I want her to dominate me. Okay, as someone that's into BDSM, it doesn't matter if it's a goth girl dominating me or a girl in a pink skirt dress that's dominating me. I just want to be dominated in general, if it's consenting, whatever. It doesn't matter if, the person was born a female, they were born a male, they transitioned to a female, they transitioned into a male. That's not it's not the number one priority. It's, what are your music tastes? What are your hobbies? What's your opinion on multiple dimensions? Do you think ghosts exists? What's your opinion on God, aliens, all that, crazy crap that, all that, delusional, because, in a because I've been labeled, I don't know what my mental illness is, but, I've been labeled delusional and, like schizo something spectrum. I don't know. I don't hear voices or anything, but I believe in weird crap. Conspiracy, not really conspiracies anymore. The spiritual shit. Whatever. That's what I'm into. I'm looking for someone that has a similar experience as me, or maybe they have the same genetic condition as me because I got a mild form of Marfan syndrome. Just something similar. That's what I'm looking for. I don't worship a specific gender or a specific style. That's just me personally. And just to wrap up the video, I know this is just a big whole waffle ramble, but goth girls and even goth guys, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for goth, usually. Or goth for alternative, or goth for whatever the fuck. I mean, again, it can work. Being a normie, getting with an alternative, whatever the fuck you want to call these, whatever, it can work. It can only work if you, number one, have knowledge in the subculture. It's a whole factor of shit. You have to have knowledge in the subculture. You don't necessarily have to be into it. You don't necessarily have to dress if you're gonna be a normie, if you're gonna dress normal and listen to normal, boring crap, you have to at least have knowledge in the goth girls subculture, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, metal, whatever you're into, whatever because there's many different fucking alternative. I know I'm using these words interchangeably and shit. My dad's coughing in the background. I know there's a difference between goth and alternative and metal. I don't want people to think that I think it's the same thing. I know it's not the same thing. I'm just using the words interchangeably because a lot of these communities cross over. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that if you're going to be a normie, you have to, not in any order, but you have to, number one, have knowledge in the subculture that the person that you're attracted to. You have to know about the subculture. That's number one. Again, not in any order, Number two, you have to actually fucking care about it. Number three, don't fetishize it. Like you could be attracted to the person, but don't turn it into like a obsessive fetish, fixation, focus, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Don't treat them like an object, you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, you can collect explicit content about those people. I'm not saying watching the naughty content. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm not anti-Guna or anti-Kuma or anything like that. If you moderate your shit, you know what I mean? Like if you can, I don't want this to be about a sex thing, If you can moderate your shit, not be so obsessive and weird and creepy about it, then what's the problem? What's the problem being attracted with a goth girl What's the problem with looking at the content on the internet once a week or something? Like, I don't see a problem with that, so yeah, just have knowledge in the subculture, care about the subculture. You don't necessarily have to be into it. You don't necessarily have to dress in all black and listen to Sisters of Mercy. You don't, or Bauhaus. You don't have to. You could still listen to Post Malone and Nicki Minaj and all that stuff. Dress in blue and shit with the blue jeans and the blue whatever the fuck. But just actually give a shit. Actually give a shit, and that's all I gotta say. Not necessarily saying that you're a poser or anything. I'm not trying to be elitist or gatekeeper or anything. I know someone's gonna fucking say he's trying to gatekeep. I'm actually not. I'm actually giving advice to the normal people, the neurotypicals, the normies, whatever the fuck you want to call them, right? I'm actually trying to give them advice that you don't necessarily have to convert and dress in all black, but you just have to basically just give a shit, But don't give too much of a shit where you're fucking fetishizing them and, you know what I mean? I mean, if the goth girl wants to dominate you, if she's okay with it, then, But if she's not okay with it, then just back off, you know what I mean? Stop asking for feet pics and shit like that, you know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna make a part 2, but this is just my experience with just subcultures. Again, I'm gonna end the video. It's really fucking long. Let me know if you want me to get off topic on this channel and talk about subcultures or album reviews and shit like that. For the longest time, I wanted to review certain bands, like The Cure, the Pornography album. I can't say the word because I don't know if YouTube's going to censor me, but you know what I mean. I always wanted to review that album. I always wanted to review Fields of the Nephilim and Bauhaus and metal shit. I always wanted to do album reviews. So let me know if you're interested in that. If not, that's fine because I have music scheduled. I don't want this to be about me once again, but it is my channel. It is mostly about me. Johnny, there is new music coming out from Johnnyism in 2025. I have an album called, I guess I can name drop it. I have an album called Sativa. Yeah, yeah, okay. Let's not get controversial with that. It's not goth or anything. It's just kind of like in that breakcore or drum and bass, digital hardcore, electronic dance, whatever the fuck you want to call that shit, right? And then I have another album planned coming. So that's coming out in 2025. That's an EP album. Then I have another album coming out called Indica. Yeah, okay. A lot of it's marijuana. Okay, we get it. A lot of it's weed. A lot of it is weed references. Okay, okay. But the Indica album is also coming out in 2025, obviously. That does have some goth into it. There is some goth elements in that album. It's like it's even like it's like, this is kind of weird. It's kind of like goth mixed with shoegaze. It's like, what is it? Ethereal wave? I don't know how you fuck you pronounce it. I don't know how you pronounce it. Like, it sounds otherworldly, right? Like it sounds like, sorry, I have a 74 IQ, so I can't really pronounce words. I've
ethereal.
Oh, ethereal. I have chronic hiccups too, sorry. It's kind of like ethereal wave in a way. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But it's kind of like, it's like dark music that sounds like it's muffled in a tunnel, cavern somewhere. Like, it's very, like, a lot of the tracks are very muffled intentionally and delayed and echoey and shit. Again, that's also going to be an EP album. You might not like it because it doesn't really have that many lyrics on these tracks. A lot of people could criticize it because my thing stopped recording. That's weird. Anyways, I don't want this to be about me, so I'm going to shut up. And the video is getting way too long. It's going to be audio only, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to stop talking about me because this is not supposed to be about me. But I'm just warning you that my future videos will be... I'm going back. I'm going back to just doing my content and my shit. And you might not like the Indica album because there's not many lyrics. It's just like... I mean, you might like the instrumentals, but like I have a song that's coming out called "People Hate Me." There's only like 5 sentences, And then I have another song coming out after that called Indigo, which is literally just the word indigo repeated like multiple times. I do have a song called Esoteric coming out, and I don't know when the second album is coming out. February, end of January, I don't know. But Esoteric is very goth. It's like very, just very goth, kind of, and progressive, kind of, in a way. Um, I don't want this to be about me. But yeah, I'm just. But yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree with the goth girl problem. It's been a problem for a while, obviously. The normies, that's a hard word to say. Fetishize them, fetishizing goth women. Yeah, because it's because it's I know I said I wanted to end this, but let me just say this. It's very hard for a guy like me to admit that I like goth girls or alternative girls or metalhead girls or emo girls or whatever, right? Because when I and then again my dad's coughing, I apologize. Again, I fucking live with my parents. It's just it sucks, you know. Anyways, it's hard to you might not even hear it in the background, which is fine. It's hard to admit that I like these different girls, these women, you know. It's hard to admit it because people lump me in with these people, these men that simp for these women, especially if they see me dressed normally. Like if I wore a blue long sleeve shirt or whatever. I'm dressing normally, and I proclaim my love for goth, alternative, emo, punk, whatever the fuck, women. Right? They're gonna be like, "Oh, so you're just another normie that's fetishizing whatever the fuck," and I'm just like, "No, I'm not. I actually study this shit, and I'm interested in it, even though I'm not dressed like it today." Different, even though I'm dressed like a normie, you know? That's why I try to dress as alternative as I can, so I can try to like convince people that I really just am into this stuff, you know? Again, I don't go overboard with it. I don't fucking do the makeup or I don't wear chains or I'm not in bondage or any, you know, I'm not in it. I don't wear a collar or anything like I don't have a leash or anything like that. But you know, I might have like a necklace of like something and like you know, because again, sorry if my dad's coughing. You know, I live with my parents. I'm mentally ill. I have a low IQ and I can't connect to people. This is one of the reasons why I don't like making these videos because I'm kind of just done. I'm kind of just done with people and drama and interacting with people. If I get a lot of comments on this video, I might not reply because I'm kind of just done. I'm kind of just done with people. Like it's not just avoiding people on the internet; it's just real life in general. Like I literally am cooped. I'm not agoraphobic, but I'm very like in my house all the time, and I have no real life friends. I used to. I'm not socially awkward or anything. I don't want to get into my psychology, but I'm just kind of just done with drama. You know. But yeah, sorry about my fucking dad coughing, whatever. It's just, you know. I know I don't sound like I'm 29, but it's just whatever. But yeah, just to end the video, it's very hard to admit that I'm into these types of women or just people in general, non binary, whatever, because they assume that I'm one of these fucking weird, normal, drooling men. You know what I mean? I'm not. The thing that comes first is the personality, you know, and then maybe we could walk our way down to the physical stuff, you know what I mean? And this is coming from a guy with a high libido, so yeah.